The Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, or SWPP, is a document that addresses water pollution control during construction. The contractor is required by the project special provisions to prepare and implement the SWPP. A SWPP must be updated weekly during the wet season and every 2 weeks during the dry season. The contractor certifies that the SWPP is in conformance with Section C, Provision 9 of the General Construction Permit and Section M, Provision 10 of the Caltrans statewide NPDES permit. The SWPP is submitted to the resident engineer for review and approval. The SWPP describes the project and details the activities that will be implemented to minimize pollution. The following records are associated with the SWPP: approved SWPP documents and amendments, compliance certifications, notification of construction, contractor inspection reports, Caltrans inspection reports, correspondence with the contractor, notice of discharge reporting, notice of completion of construction. This training module provides a brief description of each certification, report, or notice that is referenced in the March 2007 Caltrans Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan and Water Pollution Control Program Preparation Manual. These required elements are filed with the project SWPP as well as in the Category 20 files at Caltrans. To ensure that the contractor addresses all of the required elements of the SWPP, the contractor completes the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan and Monitoring Program checklist. This form provides a list of all items that are to be included in the SWPP. The contractor is required to include this checklist with the final SWPP. Upon completion of the SWPP, the contractor signs and certifies the SWPP. The initial SWPP certification form includes the project name and the Caltrans contract number. This form is submitted to the resident engineer for review and approval. The notice of construction is attached to the initial SWPP certification. This notice of construction is provided by Caltrans and identifies the project vicinity, provides an estimate of affected acres, details construction site information, lists the tentative start date and duration, and identifies the Regional Water Quality Control Board and Caltrans district in which the project is located. The notice of construction is submitted to the Regional Water Quality Control Board at least 30 days prior to construction. When Caltrans is administering the project, the resident engineer is the authorized Caltrans representative and approves, signs, and certifies the SWPP. The resident engineer signs and dates this form. This certifies the resident engineer's approval and Caltrans certification of the SWPP. This form is filed with the SWPP and in the Category 20 file at Caltrans. By June 15 of every year, the contractor submits an annual certification of compliance to the resident engineer for approval. This certification is based upon the site inspections required by the SWPP. Completed and signed annual compliance certifications and resident engineer approvals are filed with the SWPP and in the Category 20 file at Caltrans. For those projects that start construction on or after June 15, an annual certification will not be required until the following June 15. The contractor is required to issue a subcontractor notification letter to each subcontractor, informing them that they are required to comply with the SWPP and the applicable permits for any work that they perform on site. The SWPP must include a subcontractor notification log which lists names of all subcontractors and individuals responsible for implementation of the SWPP and provides documentation that a notification letter was sent. A SWPP must be amended when changes in construction or operations that may affect the discharge of pollutants to surface waters, groundwater, or a municipal separate storm sewer system. Any conditions of the permit are violated. The general objective of reducing or eliminating pollutants in stormwater discharges has not been achieved. The Regional Water Quality Control Board determines that a permit violation has occurred. Changes must be implemented in 14 days. It is required by the project special provisions, and it is deemed necessary by the resident engineer. When changes in the approved SWP are required, the contractor needs to prepare and certify an amendment and submit it to the resident engineer for review and approval. All SWP amendments are transmitted in letter format and must include revised water pollution control drawing sheets as appropriate. All amendments must be up to date and recorded in the SWP amendment log. The following items must be included in each amendment: project name, Caltrans contract number, amendment number, date, brief description of amendment, and preparer's name. Approved amendments must be inserted into the contractor's on-site SWP. The purpose of stormwater inspections is to evaluate BMP effectiveness and implement repairs or design changes as soon as possible. Inspections are conducted by the contractor's water pollution control manager. Inspections are required every 2 weeks during the non-rainy season. The purpose of these inspections is to ensure proper implementation of BMPs that are not necessarily weather-related. Examples include non-stormwater, waste management, and sediment tracking control BMPs. During the rainy season, inspections must be completed by the water pollution control manager prior to and after storm events, at 24-hour intervals during extended storm events, or as required in the project special provisions. Furthermore, the project special provisions require copies of the inspection checklist to be submitted to the resident engineer within 24 hours. A stormwater quality construction site inspection checklist must be completed during each inspection. This checklist must be used for all inspections unless the project special provisions require the contractor to use a different checklist. The contractor's water pollution control manager completes and signs the inspection checklist, keeps a copy in the on-site SWP, and submits the original completed inspection checklist to the resident engineer within 24 hours. The resident engineer reviews the contractor's operations for water pollution control compliance and files the inspection form in the Category 20 file at Caltrans. Individuals responsible for SWP preparation, implementation, and permit compliance are required to be trained, and the SWP must document all training. This includes those personnel responsible for installation, inspection, maintenance, and repair of BMPs. The contractor is required to document informal stormwater training using the trained contractor personnel log. The contractor is required to document formal stormwater training by providing a listing of classes and copies of class completion. These items are kept in the on-site SWP and should be verified by the resident engineer. If a discharge occurs, or if a project receives a written notice or order from any regulatory agency, then the contractor must notify the resident engineer verbally upon discovery and in writing within 7 days of occurrence, or as specified in the project special provisions. For Districts 7 and 11, the notice of discharge must be submitted to the resident engineer within 3 days. The form that must be used for reporting discharges is the notice of discharge. This form is signed and dated by a contact person representing the contractor. The form is kept in the on-site SWP and in the Category 20 file at Caltrans. All discharges are also documented on a discharge reporting log. Sampling and analysis are required for a project that has the potential to discharge directly into a water body listed as impaired due to sedimentation, siltation, and/or turbidity. Pursuant to Section 303D of the Clean Water Act, The SWP must include a sampling and analysis plan to assess if BMPs implemented on the construction site are effective for preventing impacts to levels of sedimentation and siltation and/or turbidity in 303D listed water bodies. Likewise, all projects must include a sampling and analysis plan for non-visible pollutants. The purpose of the sampling and analysis plan for non-visible pollutants is to assess if BMPs implemented on the construction site are effective for preventing non-visible pollutants in stormwater from leaving the construction site and potentially impacting water quality objectives. When sampling does occur, the sample activity log is used to document all sampling activities. The sample activity log documents the following information: sampling date, separate times for collected samples and quality assurance, quality control, QA/QC samples recorded to the nearest minute, unique sample identification number and location, analytical constituent, names of sampling personnel, weather conditions, including precipitation amount, field analysis results, and other pertinent data. A copy of all water quality analytical results and the QA/QC data must be submitted to the resident engineer within 5 days of sampling for field analysis and within 30 days for laboratory analysis. The electronic data results are accompanied with a sampling data reporting form, which is signed by the contractor. By signing this form, the contractor is certifying that the data package and all attachments were prepared under direction or supervision in accordance with a system designed to ensure that qualified personnel properly gathered and evaluated the information submitted. The notice of completion of construction is equivalent to a notice of termination. This form provides information on the project, the basis of completion, and a brief description of how the completion requirements have been met. This form is completed and signed by Caltrans and is submitted to the Regional Water Quality Control Board. A copy is inserted into the SWP at the end of the project. The SWP has a number of required elements that must be included as part of the submittal to the resident engineer. In closing, there are a few items to remember about contract documentation and retention of records. First, at Caltrans, the following required elements are placed in the Category 20 files: SWP, amendments, annual certification, contractor inspection reports, Caltrans inspection reports, correspondence with the contractor, Stormwater Task Force inspection reports, and correspondence with regulatory agencies. Second, the following records must be retained for a period of at least 3 years from the date generated: approved SWP documents and amendments, records of all inspections, compliance certifications, notification of construction, notice of discharge reporting, and notice of completion of construction. Remember, you can always consult with the Construction Stormwater Coordinator if you should have any questions regarding SWP documentation and record keeping.